Hi everyone, something a little bit different. I'm just going to discuss these two media articles and what they might mean for Uber Eats. So the first article is written by Jason Murphy and it analyses and summarises an academic report which is published in the Australian Economic Review, and I'll link to both Jason's article and the report in the description box down below. So this study specifically looks at Uber rideshare driving, but it does have a little bit of relevance for Uber Eats also. You do need to bear in mind this data is for the Australian market. The data coming through the study is about 4 years old, so it's not completely up to date, but it is the first study into the gig economy here in Australia. So first up, it talks about earnings, and you can see here, if we look at the two red columns, the study shows that Uber rideshare drivers made $29.46 per hour, but the actual earnings are $21 per hour because the cost is $8.46 per hour. And those costs include GST, fuel, maintenance, vehicle depreciation, and comprehensive insurance. There's a few key differences here for Uber Eats drivers. So GST is a big difference because Uber Eats drivers do not have to register for GST like an Uber rideshare driver does. So what that means is that your earnings are not subject to GST. You earn everything that you see on your income statement, and you also do not need to lodge a business activity statement every quarter for the government. Fuel and maintenance are probably pretty similar across both jobs, so I won't get into that too much. Depreciation is a big difference. So Uber rideshare drivers have to have a vehicle that's less than 8 years old, and I think preferably less than 7 years in Adelaide. So fairly late model vehicle. Uber Eats drivers in Adelaide can drive a vehicle that is younger than 32 years, so 1990 or later. So really, for an Uber Eats driver, if you're driving an old vehicle or an older vehicle, you're probably not suffering a lot of depreciation. A new vehicle depreciates very quickly and very heavily in the first few years of ownership, whereas a 30-year-old vehicle, the depreciation's been done and dusted. So you're not actually suffering that loss. Comprehensive insurance, in my experience, no different whether I'm driving Uber Eats or I'm not. So both of my vehicle and my wife's vehicle are insured with Bingle insurance, and they are both insured for my commercial activity, and that means that I'm insured for delivery driving. And there was absolutely no difference in the premium when we listed the commercial activity on the premium. So what does this all mean? So for me, at earning an average of $33 an hour, there is no way that I'm spending $8.46 per hour on expenses. You don't have the GST cost involved, and you certainly do not have the depreciation and the insurance costs that an Uber rideshare driver probably has. So the study goes on to talk about what can drivers do to make more money. And one of the things that you can do, obviously, is driving at the busy times. So in the article, they talk about driving Friday, Saturday night, which is when people go out for rideshare. But for Uber Eats delivery, it's really going to be driving at lunchtime, driving at dinner time, possibly a little bit of breakfast. I've never really tested that myself, but I know that driving between, say, 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. And maybe 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. at night is guaranteed to be busy. The article talks about surge, so driving when there's a surge. Here in Adelaide, surge pricing occurs generally around the city or close to the city and at dinner time. So if you want to maximise your earnings here in Adelaide, you make sure that you drive when there is a surge in the surge area. The article talks about sticking around. So you do need to spend a little bit of time getting to know your area, getting to know your restaurants, getting to know the Uber algorithm to really learn how to maximize your earnings. So if you haven't done delivery driving before, it will take you at least a few weeks, maybe even a month or two, to really get the hang of what you're doing, get to know the streets, get to know the restaurants, the process for picking up, dropping off. And once you know that and that becomes second nature, then it's much easier for you to maximize your earnings. When you've spent a few weeks or a month or two driving around in a specific area, you get to know the streets, you get to know the shortcuts, you get to know where all the restaurants are, where you can park, and it makes your driving much more, or your delivery driving much more efficient, and as a result you earn more dollars per hour. One of the big differences between Uber rideshare and Uber Eats is the wait time at the restaurant. Now, undoubtedly, rideshare drivers may be waiting for their passengers to arrive, but they're probably not waiting to the same extent that Uber Eats drivers have to wait at restaurants. So restaurants can keep you waiting for, well over 10, 15 minutes sometimes. And you really need to know which restaurants keep you waiting and just avoid those restaurants, because they are what's killing your earnings. You're getting paid to pick up food and to drop off food. You're not getting paid to wait. So you need to be a little bit brutal about it and move on and pick up something else. So this next article, which is titled Uber Launches Fast Fashion Arm, this is relevant because Uber Eats drivers are able to do deliveries for businesses. You can see in the article, delivery of goods has actually overtaken Uber's rideshare platform for the first time. They are now doing more deliveries and more Uber Eats work than passenger work. This is great for you as an Uber Eats delivery driver. You just need to make sure that in your app you are actually registered to do deliveries as well as food. You just need to go in, make sure that this box is checked and that you're able to accept deliveries. So just in summary, I think Uber Eats is a better option, and some of the data in these studies does indicate that. I think that the earnings in Uber Eats are better than Uber Rideshare, purely because you don't have to worry about GST. You're never going to cop the depreciation and the insurance issues that you do have with Uber Rideshare, and the fuel and maintenance should be pretty much on par. You can also see that the delivery portion of Uber's business is the thing that's taking off at the moment. Just remember that with that first article being rideshare specific, they don't talk about restaurant wait times. That is the one thing you really need to get a hold of when you're an Uber Eats driver. You need to minimize the time that you spend waiting. You never want to be rude about it. Restaurants don't usually keep you waiting on purpose, right? That's not their reason for existing. But some restaurants just are not set up to service Uber orders quickly, or maybe they choose to service their in-house customers first and make them a priority. Whatever it is, they're not trying to make you wait on purpose. So never take it out on the restaurant. Always be very nice about it. Just ask simply how long the order is going to be, or if they know how long the order might be. You can even use an excuse like, I've got another order that I need to deliver. And that helps them understand that you're on a time schedule. So yeah, never be rude about it, but always make sure that you are minimizing the time that you spend waiting. There's nothing wrong with waiting 2 or 3 minutes at a restaurant. That sort of wait is built into your earnings usually. But if you have to wait more than 5 minutes, it's almost not worth it. And if you're doing 5-minute wait every single time, you can't afford to do that. So you want to know where you can pick up quickly and keep moving. Thank you very much for watching. That's all I've got time for today. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I hope that you maybe got some benefit out of this. We'll see you on the next one.